Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. My name is Katia, and I'm a marine biologist and educator, and I have completed my PhD last year at Deakin University, and that work led me to then join the Great Southern Reef Foundation team, where now I collaborate as an ocean educator. Today, we also have Stefan Andrews here with us. So Stefan is a marine biologist, a filmmaker, and the co-founder of the Great Southern Reef Foundation. Stefan will keep an eye on the Q&A section and answer your questions as we go. We are thrilled to have educators from all over Australia here today, which is fantastic. And among us are teachers working with students across all year levels. And some of you shared that your passion for the ocean inspired you to be here today, as well as looking for fresh ideas to teach marine science in engaging ways. I'd like to start the session by acknowledging the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. I would also like to acknowledge the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation, the traditional custodians of the land in which I am facilitating this workshop and where I work and reside. If you haven't done yet, or if you haven't done it already, we invite you to share where you're joining us from using the Q&A function. You may find that others are from the same area, and that then might allow you to create opportunities to connect. If you live along the southern coastline of Australia, you've likely experienced the Great Southern Reef firsthand, whether by walking along the beach or swimming or snorkeling or surfing. But for those of you that may not be familiar with the reef, the Great Southern Reef is an 8,000 kilometers network of kelp forests that grow on a shallow temperate rocky reef. And this reef stretches all the way from northern New South Wales in the east to Tasmania and onwards to Kalbarri in Western Australia, as you can see here in the map highlighted with the yellow line. And this network or this system of rocky reefs where the kelp forests grow on, they provide habitat for thousands of species, and they are incredibly valuable reefs to Australia. And kelp are these brown seaweed found from shallow coastal waters to depths of approximately 50 meters. The golden kelp in particular, as you can see here in the image on the left, it's the dominant habitat-forming seaweed that creates these vast underwater forests along the Great Southern Reef. But we also have the bull kelp here in the middle, and also the stunning and unique giant kelp on the right. The Great Southern Reef is also a hotspot for marine diversity and endemism. And the reason for that is because species on the Great Southern Reef, they have been geographically isolated for tens of millions of years. And as a result, thousands of species are not found anywhere else in the world, which makes it quite unique. However, and just like many other marine and coastal ecosystems around the world, the Great Southern Reef is particularly vulnerable to climate change. And despite its high cultural and economical and social value, and also the fact that approximately 16 million Australians live within 50 km of these temperate reefs, they are still relatively unknown. So in this regard, one way to raise awareness of the reef is through education and engagement. And schools are indeed this common place where the young people will have access to the knowledge and the skills that they will need in the future to make better decisions to support a healthy and resilient and sustainable ocean. So here at the foundation, we developed and we provide original Great Southern Reef focused content to help these young people to connect with their local marine environments. Our educational resources are aligned with the Australian curriculum. They are place-based, and they're also tailored to all year levels. And I'm going to give you a few examples of it now by introducing our new school kit and also exploring the Educator Hub. Once you're here on the Great Southern Reef Foundation website, to find the Educator Hub, you go here and you click on the Learn section and then select Educator Hub. And when you're in this page, at the top, there is a link for a Facebook group for teachers of the Great Southern Reef. And in this group, if you would like to request to join in the group, both the foundation and other members, they share their work and they exchange ideas or offer feedback to each other. So this is a very good way to stay updated with what's happening in this space. So here at the top, our newer resources are featured. As you can see, this is our new school kit that we will explore today. And as you continue scrolling, you will see all the resources and lessons that we have available as well. And we will take a closer look at them later in the workshop. Just wanted to share as well that in the past, we provided these lessons in Word or PDF formats. And while we still offer those formats, we are also working on transforming the lessons into an interactive online course. So this new format allows for students to not only work directly on the website, which eliminates the need to print any materials, but also provide them an easy access to all the videos and all the links that they need to complete the lessons. And I'll show you an example of that through our most recent student course, which focuses on the restoration work that is happening along the Great Southern Reef. So this students course was created after the production of the Reviving Giants documentary. Maybe some of you had the chance to watch the documentary before, but if not, this is a 10-minute film that will take you and your students on a journey through the giant kelp forests of Tasmania's east coast. So the film raises awareness about the rapid decline of giant kelp forests that have been under the impact of climate change. And unfortunately, marine scientists estimate that 95% of these forests along the Tasmania east coast have already disappeared. So this story highlights the inspiring efforts of local communities working together with scientists to restore these vital ecosystems. And so you will notice that we have used the giant kelp as an initial example. So the start of the course focuses on that. But as we progress, it branches out to have students learning and investigating restoration right across the Great Southern Reef, with variety of different species and marine habitats like seagrass meadows, oyster reefs, and others. The course is divided into different sections in here, with each section containing one or more lessons. So the whole restoration unit includes a lot of content and includes a lot of activities, but educators can focus on using just a specific lesson that you may want to try. Okay, let's explore a little bit of this course. So here in the background section, you will see that the activities in here are meant to be conducted before watching the film. So when we click here, the lesson introduction, basically this just gives instructions to students on how to navigate the course. So we always click on complete and continue or next lesson. And here, this is the first lesson we have, Know Your Seaweeds. So this lesson will provide students with some background information about the Great Southern Reef, similarly to what I've done at the beginning of the workshop. So for example, here you have a map that shows where the Great Southern Reef is located. And then if you keep scrolling down, you will have a map of where the giant kelp forests are located here in Australia. So this is an interactive map. So if you click in here, it will take you to the iNaturalist website, and there is also an app. So some of you might be already familiar with this app, but if you're not, this is a citizen science platform where users can share and they can identify biodiversity observations. So they help each other to learn about nature. It provides great information. If you see in here, and the map, it's actually my favorite feature of this website because you can just zoom in to the area where you live in, and it shows you the observations of the giant kelp here in the southern coastline of Australia. And then if you zoom out, you will see the global distribution as well. So it's a really great feature for students to explore. And here at the top, you can search for any other species as well. Okay, now let's go back. So after exploring the interactive map, students are invited to answer a few questions regarding the giant kelp forest distribution. And just as note before we progress, students will conduct some research as part of this course, but all the information that they need to complete the activities is provided. So this may come from the film, this may come from additional resources or specific course pages or videos that we provide. And in some cases, you'll see that they are provided with the answers in the student course, and all they have to do is to then make those connections themselves. And you'll see as well as we progress. Okay, the next lesson is exploring the ocean with scuba diving. So this section introduces diving as an important skill for marine science and other related careers. So students will watch a video on how diving is used in marine science, and then they will be asked to research a profession of their choice, but that requires a scuba diving certification. So they will be asked to complete this table below here. And they will be asked to cover key topics or key aspects of that job, such as responsibilities, the equipment that it's required, and the challenges that they may find. So here we provide an example of that table, and this gives us also a good opportunity to go back to the teacher's guides. And you will see that, again, we provide here a few more options of these completed tables with other job careers, and that can be then helpful to support students on how to fill out their own tables. Okay, now we have the documentary. So here is the film that the students will watch before moving on to the other activities. And I'd just like to share with you, it will be less than a minute, as I believe that it showcases one of the most wonderful marine environments that I've ever seen. So please also feel free to share in the chat your thoughts about it, or if you've ever seen one of these giant kelps before, whatever you feel like sharing.
People started to appreciate that the kelp forest was a different environment, and it was an experience unlike anything they'd ever done. You dive in the giant kelp forest, you can literally compare it to flying through a rainforest. The light that moving through the canopy formed all sorts of patterns and colours, and absolutely fascinating stuff. And then you had all the life that was living in amongst it.
I'll just stop the video there, hoping that you are captivated by these forests as I am. And I actually have recently introduced this video to a friend of mine, and she said to me that, how is that we don't know about these? And I went on to show her other videos and other images. And by the end of the day, she texted me to say that she wanted to learn more. Which is it gives you hope, and it's very exciting. So I believe that by sharing these, we are giving people an opportunity to learn about it, and that might result into wanting to protect it as well. Okay, so as we keep going, there are a few questions related to the film for students to complete. And then the next lesson is about the structure of the giant kelp. So in this lesson here, students will learn about the structure of giant kelp and how each part plays a vital role for its survival. It might be, for example, if you've been walking on the beach and you've seen the seaweed washed up, you might have seen kelp washed up as well. You might have noticed that there are these gas-filled bladders that some people try to pop them as well. They are called nematocysts. This is just one of the important structures of the kelp. And its function, it's to keep the kelp upright in the water column. So this is important because it increases the exposure to sunlight, which is crucial for the photosynthetic process. So this is also one of those examples that students need to match the explanations here with the questions in there. So the next lesson is rainforest comparison. So I believe students are more familiar on how a forest on land supports biodiversity. And so this activity was designed for them to then recognize how kelp forests are similar in that function on supporting biodiversity in the ocean. So for these activities, students will work or individually or in groups to complete a table and compare both ecosystems. So we provide here the table, and they will complete the table regarding the type of ecosystem, the biodiversity, the benefits that we get, and also the threats that these ecosystems are facing. And once again, if we go back to the teacher's notes or the teacher's guide, you will see as well, you have here the completed table too. Okay, so our next lesson It's about the hidden value of kelp. And so this section introduces students to the concept of ecosystem services. And the video here shows how some of those benefits that are provided by the kelp forests. So after watching the video, students will reflect on those services, how they benefit from it as well. And the insights from this lesson will then be valuable for the other activities in the course, as you'll see. Okay, now we are in the restoration lesson. So this one might take a little bit more time. And as you see, I'm giving you an overview of the activities because of the time we have here today. But in this one in specific, you will notice that the film, the documentary, highlights the restoration efforts by the locals and the scientists to revive giant kelp forests in Tasmania. However, there are many other restoration projects that are underway along the Great Southern Reef in different states, as showed, for example, in this video in here. Just show you. And in these activities, the students will be given a table with the name of the main projects happening in different states as well, the restoration projects, and they will be asked to complete this table in terms of the location, how the project engages community, the results that they have to date, etc. They are also provided here with the restoration page and other links where they will find all the information that they need to complete this table. A tip here would be to present these activities as a challenge, for example, where students need to complete it with the most accurate information from the resources that are provided to them. So I think this encourages collaboration and also some critical thinking as well. And I think one of the main messages out of this lesson in particular is just restoration is a resource-intensive approach. So it is costly and it requires a significant investment of both time and energy. And since much of the decline of kelp forests, not only in Australia, but all around the world, is related to climate change, it is important to communicate that preventing the decline in the first place is the better approach. It's far more effective and it's cost efficient. It's better to try to restore an ecosystem. It's better to avoid the damage than trying to restore after it has been impacted. Okay, and we go to the next lesson. This is probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite activity in this student course. So students will carry out their own social research project. So they will be asked to interview at least 3 people. It might be from their family, friends, or school community, to then learn how people understand and perceive the importance of Australia's kelp forests. So the survey is provided in here. It has 6 questions. So they will collect the data. They will bring the data back to the classroom, analyze it together, and then come up with creative ways on how to share that data. So you will see as we keep scrolling down, there is an Excel spreadsheet that we provide. When you click in this link, it will automatically download that to your computer. And it looks like this. So hopefully you can see my Excel spreadsheet now. So this is just an example. And here, with the data that the students have, you can just change the numbers to represent their data. For example, let's put 65, 43. And it changes in here, 60, 40, it changes in here the graphs automatically. So then you can use these graphs directly on, to communicate the results. And for that, we also provide here ideas of softwares like Canva and PictoChart, which you can create a free account and can create your own infographics. We just give them here a simple example on how to create one. The class debate. So this activity here is the one that links well with the ecosystem services lesson that I mentioned before. So here students will conduct some research to represent different stakeholders. So they will share the perspectives from their stakeholder. We provide here a variety of options as well. And they have to conduct research to identify the benefits that those stakeholders receive from the kelp forests, but also how the decline affects them in specific, and also propose solutions to restore the kelp forests. So they will need to work to create a strong case study. And the teacher's notes will provide you educators as great examples on how to create these arguments and prepare the arguments for the different stakeholders. So their main goal is to come up together and engage in a debate where they share the perspectives from their stakeholder. It can be as well that you might think of it as a challenge where different groups are looking for funding to conduct these restoration efforts or these solutions that they propose. And the group has to come up with a very strong case study to then be able to get the funding. And this is the last activity or the last lesson in this school kit. And it ends on a good note and with a message of hope. So it's the ocean optimism. And here we propose students to come up with an action plan that is achievable. And for that, we encourage them to break down each action into specific manageable steps. And here educators can provide great help for the students too. So we do offer suggestions of actions plans that can be conducted. And we believe that this may be rewarding for students after learning about all of these to come up with this action plan and then look back, let's say at the end of the school term or at the end of the year, and they might reflect on what they have achieved. And with that, we complete the students course for the new school kit. But I would like to also show you the teacher's notes. So going back to the Educator Hub in here, just going to click on the teacher's notes. And here you will see that there's a lot of information, there's a lot of links, and this is because we prepared it to include everything that you will need to support your students. So here you have all the links to all the videos that they have access as well. You will have lots of different templates. For example, here you have a student's worksheet that can be printed out, and instead of working on the website, students can work directly in here as well. You also have here downloadable teacher's notes. So this document provides you a step-by-step guidance on how to introduce each activity and guide the students through it. And here is the answer guide. So this is a document we have been following. So this is where you can also find it. Down here, we have the learning intentions and the success criteria. And if you keep scrolling down, you will see the curriculum links to the Australian curriculum. We have here for year 7 and 8, but I believe most of these activities can be adapted to other year levels as well. Okay, so there's lots there to explore, and you will have the opportunity to, visit the website and explore at your own pace. But hopefully this gives you an idea of what it's available there, the materials that you can use and how to integrate that in your classrooms. And just going back to the Educator Hub, I'm just going to give you an overview of the other things that, of the other resources that we have available too. So when you keep scrolling down, you'll see many other different lessons. So we have here the food web lesson, the high school unit, and the endangered species one. And if you scroll down, you'll see for this one, we already have a student course. For the other ones, it will be coming up soon. We are working on that as well now. Other resources available. This one here, for example, it's a library that has beautiful, high quality images and videos that can be used for educational purposes. And this can be, for example, if you think one of the actions in the action plan might be that you have an awareness day or a Kelp day, let's say. So here is a really good source of good imagery that you can use for that to create that awareness and that campaign. You also have here totem cards. I am a fan of these cards. I might just open and show you one example. And recently we had a school using these cards as an inspiration for them, for the students to create their own ID cards for the marine organisms that they thought that they might find in their excursion to the intertidal area. So it was a beautiful work that they did. And I'm just going to zoom out a bit, but you can see here, there's the image and then the class, the predators, the habitat. So lots of information there too. This website here, if you click there, it will guide you to a website. This was a partnership between the foundation and Google Arts and Culture. and you explore the kelp forest. It's like you're going underwater without getting wet. So it has beautiful images too, and videos, and lots of facts and information that it's very easy to understand. So it's a good way. Students can spend lots of time there just navigating the website. So it's really worth it to have a go at it as well. We have more resources in here for all year levels too. And I would just like to focus in this teacher's guide. So some of you might be familiar with it already, but if not, this was a result also from my PhD work. So this is a teacher's guide for primary school. So let's say from foundation all to year 6. And this has lots of different activities, and they are connected to picture books. And the list of picture books are down here. So for my PhD, I used picture books to bring marine science concepts into the classroom. So it's also aligned with the Australian curriculum, and all these books feature the temperate marine environments down here in the Great Southern Reef. And they were all fact-checked too. So I'd encourage you to download it for free, and we just released the second edition July last year. Again, because of the limited time, we cannot just provide lots of detail, but hopefully you got a really good idea of what's available there. And just to wrap up the workshop before we go into the Q&A, we are very excited to announce that there's an upcoming release of the White Rock. So White Rock is a 45-minute documentary that explores the effects of climate change on Australia's kelp forests. So you can see here some images. This film will be released this year, and it highlights the fast-growing population of long-spine sea urchins. And these sea urchins, they are devastating these vital ecosystems here. So the documentary features divers, First Nations custodians, and also chefs, and they are all working together to restore the marine environment and even turning sea urchins into a sustainable food source, although seaweed are too. So it really introduces people to the Great Southern Reef. And one of the special things I consider from this documentary is that it focuses on solutions and gives people a tangible thing that they can do. And I think that so often with the climate crisis and the climate change stories, we tend to focus on what not to do. But this is actually what people can do, the actions that they can put into place. So we have today a trailer here, 1-minute trailer that we are very happy to share with you. So this trailer is not publicly available yet. And I'll open now, and hopefully you can hear it and see well. So the good news is that we are already working on a student-led course based on this White Rock documentary. And similar to the Restoration School Kit that we just explored together, this course will provide many opportunities to explore scientific concepts across different learning areas of the curriculum. And it will also be interactive, so it will allow students to engage with the content also in a hands-on way. So stay tuned for that release. And one way to do that is by joining or signing up for our newsletters. So the Great Southern Reef publishes a monthly newsletter, and it highlights the latest updates, also more information about citizen science project and community events. So you can just sign up through the website and you will receive all the updates. I would like to say thank you for the opportunity to facilitate this workshop today. And now we will have some time for answering any questions that you may have. Thank you so much.